Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the 10th time that I'm filming this video. Hasn't been 10, but maybe 7. And I don't know if it's a sign that I shouldn't film the video or if it's a lesson for me to develop a growth mindset and not give up. But I am going to try again and see how it goes. So in this video, I want to talk about my money story, my depression and my debt, and my plan to get out of debt. I know talking about money can be very distasteful to some, but when people share their experiences, I learn from it. And I think a lot of people make money mistakes, myself included. I don't want to make money mistakes anymore. And hopefully my story will inspire someone to not do the things that I do. I don't think my debt is severely bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. And a lot of times with books that I read on finances, people always say, like they say in the books, financial education should be taught in schools. I'm sharing my experience. So I'm going to start with my money story. I'm going to take this thing off because it's going to make a lot of noise on this table. In late 2002 or early 2003, I worked for a company in Orlando and they went out of business. I received a severance package and I thought I was going to get a job really quickly. Not because I thought that I was all that. I'd just never been out of a job before and I didn't know how long it would have taken to find a new job. So 8 months later, I found myself still without a job. I did have temporary jobs, but they were few and far between. There was one day that I had 79 cents to my name. I didn't have any money in savings. I didn't have any money in retirement. I didn't have any money. The only amount of money that I had to my name was 79 cents. I remember it very vividly because I went to the supermarket and I bought a can of Vienna sausages and 2 rolls. And another thing I remember thinking was, if I can help it, I'll do everything in my power not to be in that situation again. It's been about 16 years since, and I've never found myself in a situation like that again. I have made some money mistakes, and like a lot of things, I do well for a while and then I fall off. And I mentioned before about my health that I think this year, I want this year to be the year that I start on a trajectory going this way and I keep going this way, even if it's just at a very slow pace. I don't want to do well and then fall off the wagon. So that's my money story. I don't want to be without money because it's very scary. As far as my debt and depression, when I'm doing well, I do better with my money, and when I'm not doing well, I don't do that well with my money. I don't think I'm a frivolous spender. I don't spend money every day or every weekend. I do have my moments where I feel like I've worked hard, so I need to treat myself to things. Last year, I started the year with a 0 balance on one of my credit cards, and I ended the year with a $6,000 balance. Anyway, before I get to the credit cards, my mom just celebrated her 70th birthday. My grandmother died when she was 56. So my mom has surpassed that. I know one thing doesn't really have a lot to do with the other, but my mom has surpassed that. And I started thinking, like, what if I lived to be 70 years old? Or what if I lived to be 75 or 80? What if I lived to be 85? What if I lived to be 90 years old? I just started thinking that right after my mom turned 70, and because my mom is 70 and she's in fairly good health, and I'm thinking she could live to be 90, and 90 it's 20 more years. 20 more years is a really, really long time. And I'm thinking, what if I live to be 90? Because I'm in my 40s now. What if I live to be 90? That means I'd have 40 something more years to live. And if I do have 40 something more years to live, like, what do I want that to look like for me? I want to be healthy, mentally, and physically. I want to be financially okay. I want to be okay. I want to be up and about. If I live to be 90, I want to be up and about. So I started making plans. Now, I was diagnosed with depression when I was in my 20s, so I've been living with depression for 20 something years, and sometimes it's manageable. Like right now, I believe I'm managing it okay. If I live to be 90 years old, what do I want that to look like? What do I want that to look like for me? It'll be hard to be 90 without being financially stable. So my debt, currently I owe $30,900. I'll insert the clip here because I posted the information on Instagram recently. 30,900 something in consumer debt. So this debt includes home improvement card. It has 2 credit cards, a student loan and a car loan. The Home Depot card is one that I will pay off when I get my tax refund. The Sears credit card, I've paid that off recently, and I have a little clip of it because I did put it on Instagram. I made a payment of $4,500 in one go, and then I made my final payment January 31st for $800 something, and I do have a clip of when I made my final payment. So the Sears card has a 0 balance. My Amazon card, like I said, I started the year with a 0 balance, and I ended up with $6,000 balance at the end of the year. And that's because last year was not one of my better years as far as my job and personal life and a lot of things. It wasn't that great. So I spent money, which is something that I will work on and fix. A couple of days ago, I made $4,500 payment on my Amazon, and I had paid $1,000 prior because I stopped doing personal savings. So I was able to pay $1,000, which brought it down to $5,000 plus, and I paid $4,500. So right now I owe about $500 something on the Amazon card, and I'm gonna pay that off in the middle of February. And then I'll have my car. I have some issues with car, and I'll talk about that in a second. I'm trying to not make this video too long. So I have my car. I'm gonna give myself about 8 months to pay off my car, and after that I'm giving myself until next October to pay off my student loan. So I'm giving myself a year and 10 months to pay off my $30,000 debt. About my car, and one of the reasons why I was able to make these lump sums of payments to my Sears and my Amazon, when I moved to Georgia, I had a Toyota. Someone crashed into the back of that car and totaled it. So I had to get a new car, not a new car, I got a used car, but I got a Jeep. I've always wanted a Jeep Wrangler, so I got a Jeep Wrangler. And it's so funny, like a quick side story. A couple of years, I found a note that I had written when I was in college that I wanted a yellow Jeep with a hard top. I mean, everything that I said I wanted, I actually ended up getting in this Jeep, but I'd forgotten that I had written that note. Anyway, so I got the Jeep. I had the Jeep for a lot of years, and I paid off the Jeep. Within the last year before I got rid of the Jeep, it was stolen 3 times. It was stolen twice from my job, and the last time it was stolen from my home. The second time they stole it from my job, I just stopped by the school during the summer to get something, and I was standing in the office and someone said, I just saw your yellow Jeep like driving that way. And so that was the second time. When they stole the Jeep the second time, I was on my way to the post office and I had a letter in there with my address. And I did tell the police that they took the letter with my address, and they said, you know, it's not really something to worry about because thieves, car thieves, something, I don't remember what they said, but I'm like, okay, whatever. I picked up the Jeep was found several days later, taken to the dealership. They did the repairs, and when I went to pick it up after the second time it was stolen, I think I picked it up, I believe I picked it up on a Friday, may have been a Friday. And then Sunday I was home, my mom was here with me, and I was doing lesson plans and laundry. My mom was going back and forth doing folding laundry and cooking. And at one point she came out into the dining room and she said, "Where's your Jeep?" So that was the third time. So I believe they came to my house to take my Jeep because I'd just gotten it back. But when they stole it the second time, they took the VIN plate. It's just a long, complicated story. Anyway, the Jeep was found, taken to the dealership. My insurance canceled my policy. But when I went to get when it was fixed and I went to get it, I just didn't want to go in the Jeep. I didn't want to be it. I didn't want anything to do with it anymore. And I was going to get one of those alarms that make a noise, like step back or something, but I just didn't want to live my life like always looking over my shoulder, because I don't know, they were just out to get my Jeep. So anyway, I ended up getting a different car, a used car. The one thing that I did with my Jeep was when I was done paying for the Jeep, I continued to send the money to my bank, and the bank was in Florida because that's where I had my loan. I continued to send the money to the bank in Florida, and I was able to save. My payment for my Jeep was $375 per month. So I was able to save a lot of money because I kept on sending that money as if I still had my car payment. And I read a book, I'm reading The Wealthy Barber right now, and it's called, like something like that, it's called Pay Yourself First, where you take the money out of your paycheck so you don't miss it. And because I had gotten so used to living without the $375 when I did have a car payment, I figured I could just continue to live without the $375. So that's how I was able to save a lot of money. And that money was my emergency fund for my mortgage and my car if anything were to happen as far as my job. And when I got when I got the car after the Jeep, my salary had increased a little bit, so I was able to make, I had to start over because my timer was flashing. I don't know why it was flashing. Anyway, where was I? When I got the new car, my salary had increased a little bit, so I was able to use that whatever increase I had in my salary to pay this car payment. So it didn't seem, I was just still living off the same amount of money that I'd lived off for a number of years. And so that's how I saved all of my money. But one of my finance charge on the Amazon card was $140 something, I think. It didn't make any sense for me to have that money in savings and be paying interest, like $140 something in interest. So I just decided to take the money out and pay off all of my credit card debts. So my credit card debt will be gone by the time this video goes up. I just have my car payment and my student loan. The student loan that I have, I went to school on a track scholarship. So the student loan that I have, that's for, I went to massage therapy school, graduated and everything, because I thought I was going to open up my own spa. That didn't happen. So I'm still paying off that loan, and I also went back to school to get my master's degree in math. That's where the student loan is from. When I calculate the amount of money that I was just paying out to debt, it was $634, about $635 per month. When I'm done with all of my debt, I'll have to resave my 3 to 6 months emergency fund. It'll be a lot easier to do that because instead of sending $634 towards debt, I could use that money to put towards my emergency fund. I'm gonna pay off my home early. One thing that I forgot to mention as far as my home, the $30,900 plus that I share in debt does not include my mortgage. When I'm done, I will pay off my mortgage, and I'm giving myself until 2025, all willing. The one regret that I have as far as purchasing my home, I should have gotten a 15-year mortgage instead of a 30-year mortgage. If I had gotten a 15-year mortgage, I would have just 5 years to pay off my home. But right now I have 20 years to pay off my home. So I'm gonna give myself until 2025, which would just put me at 17 years paying mortgage instead of 30, which is not bad, but that is my goal for my home. I'm not a financial person. I don't know how much financial videos I will film. I do know that once I've paid off one debt and I start on another, I'll just give an update, a short update on that. I feel like I'm forgetting something. As far as my plans go for how long I'm gonna live, I know how and what's gonna happen in my life. I know nothing is guaranteed, so but it's better to plan than not to plan, and it's just better to plan than not to plan. I have a plan here, like a financial plan, how I'm going to get out of debt and the things that I'm gonna do. And even just the act of doing that alone, this is my financial plan, but just the act of doing that alone has given me, I don't know, I feel good. I feel hopeful about the future. So I'm excited about that. And I have been down this road before. Same thing with not eating meat or losing weight. I have done all of these things before, and I always seem to fall off. But I'm sorry, I'm looking at my plant on the table. I'm tired of starting and stopping, and I'm not going to rack up debt again because things aren't going well in my life, because I've done the work for it. I've done the head work for it. So it's not something that I'm going to do. But I hope it wasn't too personal or too distasteful to talk about my debt and what I plan to do. I just wanted to share my money story. I wanted to share about my depression and how I spend money when I'm feeling bad and I save money when I'm not. And I wanted to talk about my debt and my plan to pay off my debt in a year and 10 months, even quicker if I am able to. But I hope, I don't know, maybe someone's inspired or motivated. If you enjoyed the video, if you thought I won't, you know what, I need to stop doing that because I'm learning from her, just give the video a thumbs up. And if you watched all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.